Hello and welcome to REI Consulting Deal Review, where we are going to be looking through the hot deals that went through the auction from June 3rd through June 7th, 2019. So in Broward County, there were actually auctions from June 4th through June 7th, 2019. So some of them we're going to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using our deal sheet, and we're going to be looking at the hot deal list that we put together. Let's see what people bid on it. And we already have set up our deal list. And our deal list, we see here all of the properties which have gone up for auction from 6.4 through 6.7 and gone to third-party bidders. So we have 14 properties that we need to look at that went and sold to third-party bidders. So we have it ordered right now in terms of equity remaining. So what I want to do is let's see if any of these deals line up with what we were looking at. And the easiest way to do that would be to copy all of the deals that got sold. We're going to go into our watch list. We're going to slide all the way to the left, and we are going to paste it down. Now, what we want to see is if it got sold to a third-party bidder. So let's see, let's copy that and let's paste onto here the format, and then we can get rid of the color, no fill. And what we want is, let's format the columns, just doing some housekeeping here, is we want to sort it by the parcel ID, and let's see if any of these line up. Expand. Okay, so some of our I don't know if any of those went through, which is pretty interesting. So what we can do is now go and look at the ones which are marked green and go into our auction database, and let's see what happened to them. We can clear the filters. So our first deal which we had highlighted in green, this is the one that we have at the top of our deal sheet, 355 Inverary Boulevard. What happened to it is it got canceled per county. So it got canceled in February and it got canceled again. Wah, wah. So our hot deal sheet, we would say canceled. Right? So this was canceled. So let's go see what happened to our next property. We have this one. Let's copy that. Let's drop that into the parcel ID search. Auction type, parcel ID, switch it up, canceled per order. Canceled per county. Canceled per county. Okay, let's see this next one, 300. This one had a whole history of being canceled. And this one canceled per bankruptcy. Nice. So let's see what actually did go through the auction and see what we can learn. Let's see, the 571 go through the auction. 571. Where's 571? Did someone bid on 571? I don't think so. Canceled. Canceled per order. Canceled, canceled, canceled. This one, 5,104. What happened to 5,104? Oh, did we already check 5,104 and they get canceled? So let's just jump into what actually sold. We can go over these, but this is the good thing about deal review is instead of having to project and pretend, we can just go into what actually happened. So let's clear all of our filters, clear, and let's jump into the dates for the week that we're looking at. Let's go from June 7654 and let's go third party bidders. If we have time, we'll do the plaintiff, but let's see what the third party bidders are up to. And as always, let's go by the most equity. So the equity remaining. So our first deal that we're going to look at, let's create our new sheet. And this will obviously be made available to our members. So let's call this. This is deal review 6/4/2019 through 6/7/2019, Broward County, Florida. Deal review. So the first one we are going to take a look at, we have $88,000 in equity remaining with an ROI 243%. Purchase for $36,390. Equity remaining. Purchase price. Okay. And market value is 124. Market value. Right, so we're going to challenge all these numbers. Equity remaining. Let's move this up right here. Okay, so this is what we're saying. This is our first deal on deal review. Is it a good deal? Well, we're about to find out. So they purchased it for $36,390. and we need to find out what the HOA. It would be a lot of months of rent. They had to have $1,800 in the bidder account. So let's take a look at this property, and we can drop the address in here. Okay. I think we looked at this in our last video. 2751. Is it in? Did I write it up in here? I don't think it was a good 571. I don't think I wrote it up. Oh, here it is. Why did it say cancel per county? I think it wasn't a cancel per county. No, this wasn't cancel per county. So this is this, and it sold for $36,000. So let's drop this in here. And here we go. The condo association, so there's a mortgage for $92,000 on this property. So it would be just for rent. We said it rented for $1,500. So they purchased it for let's see if we can make all this heading 3. Our max bid was $10,000, so this went way above where our max bid was for this property. Whoa. So it wasn't canceled, it was purchased for that. So there's no equity remaining, and it's just for rent. So it's going to take these people about 36 months to recuperate what they made, unless they rent it for a lot more than that. So it's really not a good deal. I mean, it would have been at $10,000, but at 36, why does it keep doing that? Stop doing that. That is so bizarre. Okay. So what it was purchased for, now we can get the real cap rate, and we can get all of these values. So it is that value starting bid, and it was purchased for $36,000. Wow. So purchased $35,600, and then plus the fees. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that deal, because there is that mortgage. So, and we had found this mortgage here. And this mortgage was assigned, and I think they're in the middle of a case, aren't they? No equity for rent. Barbara Lewis. So it's definitely going to take a lot of rent to be able to recoup. What's going on with that property? I don't think the bank's in action unless it is. No. So the bank is not foreclosing at the moment. So the best thing would be to rent that as soon as possible. That mortgage for 80. And then I guess they released that mortgage for 80, right? 050. 050. They released, yeah. They released that and they turned it into 92,850. So there's no real equity on the property unless you can hold it, but the best thing you're going to want to do is start renting that immediately. So the new numbers on this deal, we already know the HOA rents for $1,500 and the HOA is $478. Let's just call it a clean $480. 36 months of rent. So the net income is $1,020. The cap rate is 33%. So here's your cap rate. 33%. Net income. This is right at sold for 36 months of rent. So this was plus, just so we know what the costs are, 35,600 plus. Boom and boom. That was the purchase price. Let's make all this a little bit bigger. There we go. 33% net income. We're going to call this 480 on the dot. Rent for 1,500. Net income 1,020. 33.63%. So there's zero equity remaining. I mean, 2016 plus the interest. Did we see the interest rate on this? Let's see, mortgage calculator. Mortgage amount, we don't know the interest. We could just 92850. Monthly payments 439. So how many months? Um 2 years, 6 months. So that's 20. 30 months. So let's do like 750 times 30. 22.5 plus 90 to 850. 115, 350. So it's like what would be 750? What kind of interest am I putting on here? 6, 8, 10, 9. That's a good amount. 9% interest. Okay. Then it started at 95. It went up to 36. It sold for 36 months of rent because it's $33.63 cap. For all intents and purposes, there's no equity. So this needs 36 months of rent. Let's go on to the next deal. The next deal, so this one we've already calculated. There's no real equity remaining. So it's not really a great, definitely not a great deal. And I wish whoever purchased it the best of luck. The next property, worth $290, sold for $239. That's pretty interesting. So this property, let's see, in Margate, it had a final judgment of $806 and it sold for $239. Well, hot damn. Hot damn. So this is a wholesale deal. Let's just see what kind of sales activity. So it's being assessed at $290,000. And it sold for $234, and then plus the fees is like $239. So $240 out the door. They got this property. It's a single family home. So let's just make sure that they actually bought the first mortgage, because that's the first place where they could mess up. So if we go into the case, we're going to use our little secret link, jump right into the case. Bank of New York Mellon, that sounds like a first mortgage. And let's see the complaint. Does it say, what does it say on here? Verified to foreclose mortgage. So this is a mortgage from 2006, 42275. Let me get my little capture to text. Let's highlight this area. $42275, page 20. So let's go into the Broward official records. Let's do book page. Let's drop that in. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's drop in 20. Let's search. And definitely looks like a first mortgage from 2006. 297 full value of the property. And around that time, Johnson Nadine should have had another mortgage released, if there was, because when did, so Johnson Nadine 2019 final judgment, and that's our auction case. Is there another case? Release, portfolio recovery, notice of commencement, Bentley Roofing. There's notice of commencement. Deerfield Beach, no. We're in Margate. So we have another notice of commencement, Lowe's Home Center. 152 Deerfield Beach, okay. We have a release, Home Ventures, Sunrise. What is the legal description of our property? So 5515 Margate. Let's slide over and see what the legal is. Legal on this property is Sereno Park, section 3, Sereno Park. So Lakeside, Sunrise, in 2011, 2009, 2008, 2007, Lakeside, 2006, Lake Forest, Sereno Park. There we go. Okay. That's the deed in 2006. And then they hit them with the mortgage. Okay, so it's most definitely the first mortgage. So this is a great little case study. Let's write this up. So there's all kinds of deals that go through the auction. Now, let us see. So they did right there. So far, let's give this a good little green highlight. We may remove it later, but so far it's looking pretty good. So it sold for $239. And let's see, when was this property built? This property was built in It was built in 1978. So it's a little old. It may need some work. Now, how big is it? Is it a big property? Living area, 1,900 square feet. Okay. It's like a normal 7,500 square foot lot. Okay. So now let's take a physical look at the property. At this point, we could take a physical look at the property. Now, we didn't see any association within here. At least I didn't see a association in here. Bank of New York, City Mortgage, Bentley Roofing, Lowe's, City, Home Ventures, SunTrust, bank. Now let's see if we find anything under Sereno Park, right? Sereno Park. Sereno Park, section 1, Broward County, certificate, easement, Sereno Park. It's definitely Sereno Park. I just see, okay, the plat. So I don't see an immediate association, but let's take a look at now the physical property, and we're going to copy the parcel ID. We're going to go to the Broward property appraiser. We're going to paste the parcel ID, and we're going to look at the map. We're going to look at the map for one, and we're going to look at the subdivision sales. Okay, here's a property. There's no pool. It's got a driveway. It looks pretty similar to the other properties that are going on in there. And it definitely doesn't look like it's in a community. It looks like it's open. It's not a gated community. It's not telling us the beds and baths. But I would imagine it's a 3-2. If not, it would have to be converted into a 3-2. Okay, so let's see if we can, how recent we've taken a look at it. So this is 2016. It definitely needs some cleaning up. And what is selling? Is anything selling in that area? 2019 sold for $259. Next best thing, 238, 315 a while ago. So our lowest comp is a 2-2, 1100 square feet. Where is it? Oh, right down the street. So our property's here. It's definitely bigger. It has the back end. And this property's over here. So this is the low comp, around 240, with it being a bit bigger, but having to put in some work. I would imagine the margins are pretty slim. Your high comp, it's bordering on being just a bit too old. But the high comp is 315. Let's see. It's around it's around the same size. Ours is 1911, right? 1911. So around that size last year, 3-2, built at in the same year, was sold for 315. So that would be the ideal situation. Put no more than 20, 30, 40 in work. This was a corner lot with a pool. It looks like a relatively new deck. So can this sell for 300? Well, that's what we're gonna have to come back and see. I mean, if we were bidding on this, we'd really be looking at around, like, I mean, if we just went with the bid with our market value, what would our wholesale bid be? Let's add this to our sheet. Wholesale max bid. Right. Let's add this to the sheet. And instead of just calculating it one time, we can calculate that for all of them, and we can already know what kind of deal it is, or how far we would have been off from it being a deal based on what we're looking at. So the margins are definitely slim there, but I mean, money can be made, but you would have to sell it at 300 and really keep your costs low. So let's do, this is equal to the market value times 65%. One moment, all that calculates. All right. So the margins are rather thin on that deal. Let's mark that as a yellow. Well, we can mark these as red even. Let's just be real brutal with it. Let's see if we find any deals that were worth our while. So this next deal, 46,000 in equity remaining. So let's slide over and see what we're talking about. So the market value is 400,000, 450,000, and the bid was for 400,000. So the final judgment was for 570, no, for 409. And the plaintiff was at 386, and it sold for 401 plus the fees. It's like 410. So at 410, I'm pretty sure that's the first mortgage. Let's just see if the property is worth anywhere near 410. So we can close everything else. Let's go to the next one. Let's just see subdivision sales. 617. Ooh, bunch of sales activity. 570, 535, 564, 535. So let's see, it's 485, 44029, 2,400 square feet, built in 98, 2,400 square feet. So the low comp is what really mattered here. 2,400 square feet. Let's see how far these properties are from each other. They don't sound like they're too far at all, but there is a lot of sales activity, so you should be able to flip it quickly. So this one's on the water, and this one is not. It has a pool. This one doesn't have a pool. Interesting enough. So this property just sold for 485. Now they may have done work inside. They may have cleaned out or done a new kitchen. Let's see. So 4029 turquoise. Did they market it with brand new stuff? I don't really see any marketing with it. So this may be a decent deal. And then these other ones, Amber Way, this sold for right on the same street, 4029 turquoise. And then this one's on the water, so Turquoise Trail. So any other ones? Now our high comp is what? How big is our high comp? 3,200 square feet. Okay, so that's definitely a different property. This one is how big? 2,800. Definitely a bigger property, different kind of property. So 485. Purchase 410. Again, the margins are slim, and you have to sell it 485 to 500. But if you sell it for 500, and you only have to put 20-30 of work, you can make the spread in between. So this one, I mean, we can write this one up. 4016 turquoise. Let's go here. So it was purchased for 401 plus all of the fees. So we have so you would need 20,000 in the bidder account to be able to bid on this property. Beautiful. Wholesale value. See, our maximum bid would have been 296, putting this well above what would make it a reasonable wholesale deal. Let's see any of these other ones. What do we have by ROI? So this one, we're just gonna cancel this out. This one, it just depends on what they sell it for. Let's see by ROI what we have left. Largest to smallest. This one, 479 ROI. So 5,600. What? What? Third party bidder for 5,500. What? What? Okay. Okay. Hold up. Who was foreclosing? Who was foreclosing? That is the question. Okay, the association. Was there anybody else? Is there anybody else foreclosing? Like next week. It didn't copy the parcel ID. But we could reverse engineer with the case number. Wow, what? How did the plaintiff max bid go from 27,000 to somebody winning it for $5,500? What? 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 Okay, so let's copy the parcel ID. Let's remove all these filters. There's gotta be something up with this deal. This is why you have to be at the auction every... Wait, was that a different case number? No, it wasn't, because I searched by the case number. Yeah, that's the same case number. There's only that case number. It went for $5,500. What? What? It's a little unit. It's like 600 square feet. What is that rent for? Rent for $300. That's wild. All right, so this little property just sold for $5,500. What? It's worth about 30. The only mortgage there would be under this person right here. Assignment 21301, 21301, 21301. Why what are they assigning here? Hort A. Sopper. Who's Hort A. Sopper? Trustee. Okay. So they were just assigning the bid. Final judgment. Plaintiff's motion. Intervenor. What? What I'm seeing is if this sale wipes out and who won? Who won? Who won? Who won this auction? This is wild. This is absolutely wild. If this property really just sold for what it's saying, for 5,500, and it's covering all that shit. Excuse my language. Who won? Who won? Was it that trustee? Who won this? John Andrews. Why is there an asterisk? Who's the plaintiff? Why is there an asterisk by their name? Bid via proxy. John Andrews. The final bid was made by Miami Hollywood Speedway. Oh, and that was the credit bid. Okay. So that one didn't really go. Assignment of bid. Right. They got the credit bid. Okay. So for this deal, it looks like it went to the trustee. So even though it went to a third party bidder, it went to this person that was assigned the summary judgment. So let's move on to the next one. Let's clear all the filters. Let us filter back. To these few days, let's go to the third party bidder. And this one we're gonna eliminate because it really went to the plaintiff. I mean, it's not a bad deal, but it wouldn't have really been available because someone bid more than 5,500, which we saw. So let's just read that one out. Let's go to this one. What's the deal here? What is the deal here? Not much ROI. It was purchased for 250, 413, 214, 322. So there's not really any left that really have any significant equity from last week. So nothing really missed in Broward County for last week. Now, what I would want to check is the plaintiff. And I want to see if anything with a lot of equity still went, because we have the best bids using what the minimum bid would be. So let's see. Well, the one that sticks out is this one at the top here, where there's 45% potential ROI. So if this, let's see, this went to the plaintiff bid $995. So what it's telling us is that if we would have bid $995, 100, there'd be 453,000 in equity remaining. Right? So this looks like a first mortgage. Let's see, let's check this case. So let's close all this. HSD Holdings. So let's see what the final judgment. The final judgment was for, wow, $393,000 in principal, $600,000 in interest, plus taxes, escrow, legal fees, yada yada yada, calculated at 1.2 million. So with it being calculated at 1.2 million, they bid up to 995,000. My deal sheet's going a little wonky. So let's see, what did people bid on this? Did anyone bid? Was anyone interested in bidding? No one. Zero bids. I mean, I could see why. Final judgment 1.2, plaintiff max bid. So now what is this property actually worth? It's saying 1.5 million. So could it be? So now, was it a first mortgage? It looks like a first mortgage. Complaint. So oh, it's a HELOC. Wait. Mortgage. A second HELOC. And they modified. He did a third HELOC. Whoa. Dear God. Okay, so they were looking for 106. Where did it jump up to 995? A 130 pages. That's gonna take a minute to load. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. So they took out 4 HELOCs, 4 interest only HELOCs. So I would imagine that there's a first mortgage in front of this. What is the name? Wow. Where's the big number? What's the legal on this? Polo Club Estates. Polo Club. What? What? Oh, wow. Okay, they bought the land and then they built the property on it. Wow. Wow. Okay. And then they mortgaged it up. So it's just those mortgages because there's no property because they bought the land. And then they took over the whole thing. Let's see, how many mortgages were there? All the legacy banks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. We don't know what their bid was. Well, yeah, we do. $995. So what's the property worth? So yeah, that would be your property. You would have this free and clear for just under $1 million. Well, no, over $1 million with the fees. It'd be a million something. What is this property worth? 1.5 million. Wow. That's a recent picture. That's April 2019. Wow. We're gonna put this in our little deal sheet. Let's go to the next. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. So this property, this case, sold to plaintiff. Wholesale max bid is $941. So it's just over the wholesale bid. Now what's selling in that area? That's beautiful. What's selling? Is anything selling? Yeah, they bought the land and they built the property. No. Nothing's really selling in that area. Let's see on Zillow, just make sure. Wow. Brand new house. Zillow 1-1. For sale. Sold. 1.14. And 6. Okay, we were seeing the same thing. So not many comps in the area. So it's not really a quick flip. I mean, there's something selling over here. 1.8. It's a bit bigger. So not an easy. You definitely have to be into it. So if you're into a big house on a big lot in Plantation, this is how you could have taken one over just like that. Easy breezy from the auction, and either hold it. You could definitely rent it. And it would be yours. This would be a buy and hold. This would have been a buy and hold situation right here. Which is sometimes desired. So if you wanted a good buy and hold property, this would be a good buy and hold. Take it over, it's pretty much new. Try to sell it for 1.5 and rent it out. I mean, your cap rate, what would it rent out at? 14. You're still getting a 14% cap. I don't think there's an association. There's nobody else really involved. Let's see. Who do they buy it from? Polo Club Estates. Polo Club Estates. Deed, mortgage restrictions. I don't think there's an association. They just bought it and built the land, which is beautiful. And then what is something like that renting for? Definitely rents. 6,200. What are we saying it rented for? Rents for 12.1, so let's call it an even 6. It's a 7% cap. Sells for 1.5. You get 45%. It's a 5.5 built in 2006. Yeah, just needs a paint job maybe on the inside, but that should be looking pretty good. So this is definitely an interesting deal, an interesting buy and hold. Buy for $995, 100. Rent for 6,000. Try to sell for 1.5 million. Definitely a nice place. All right, let's see the next deal that we have. It's a condo. And it's not much equity remaining. So I think really the only deal that we had to look forward to here was this deal right here, the 1.5 million, but even there the margins are slim. And I think everything else we've pretty much knocked out. What about this one in Sunrise? A third party bidder. Only 33% equity remaining. Bunch of activity. Only a few qualified sales from 110. So the low comp, this is the most recent one, 110 for a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath. And what is ours? 1 bed, 1.5 bath. So 110 would be the high, definitely a good barometer. Let's see, we have a 135. Is that a bigger unit? Yeah, that's the 2-2. So 110. Let's see, we have another 110, but this is a different kind of deed. And that's a 2-2. Let's see, we have 145. That's a 2-2. So 110 would be a good resale. So if they bought this for, oh, nobody bought this. But if somebody would have bought it for 75, is that the first mortgage? So somebody would have bought it for 75, Town Point mortgage. Um, 2004. 37756, 2004. $2,002 is when it was purchased for 70, and you're saying 2004 is when this mortgage was delivered. Fixed rate note. The payment is $571 for 85,000. Unit 514. Okay. $514. So definitely looks like the first mortgage. So I would imagine seeing that there is a release around 2004. Right? can go from here. Three seven seven five six 298 3. So here's the mortgage. And the name attached to that, Nunez Bruno. So 7/1/2004. We should see this mortgage and then a release. And I think here's the release of whatever the first was. So here's the first being released. 68 turned into 85, and then 85 turned into this foreclosure. And then no one bought it. But if someone did buy it, if you buy it for 75, what is it, 110 times, it's just a little bit above wholesale value. Building doesn't look that bad. Except he had a paint job. This photo is a little dated though. So you go in, you clean up the unit. There's definitely sales going on. There's been a cluster of sales recently. 4 sales in the last month. One of them being the same size unit. So, not a bad deal. Not a bad little fix and flip that was missed. So these are the kinds of things, by there not being people at the auction, this is a deal that was missed. So there was this $1 million deal, which, yeah, the margins could be a little slim and maybe it would be hard to sell. But as a buy and hold, not bad. And when the time is right and you get the buyer for the 1.5 mil, and you could definitely get a mortgage, a proper mortgage on the property to be able to cash out for $1 million. And then be able to start collecting rent. Wow, that would actually be a killer deal. To be able to get a mortgage on. Because you would own that free and clear. So that's not a bad deal. That's not a bad deal. That's not a bad deal. This one's not a bad deal either. So let's add this. I like that deal. Sometimes you got to be creative. That's where the money's made. So while it may not look like a deal, I think that this actually would be a deal. Because you would own this free and clear, and you would own that free and clear. Copy. Paste. This was the mortgage. Toad Point Mortgage. And then let's get the auction information. Nobody bought it. Pretty incredible. Let's get the comps. So there's this sale for 110. And this one is the same size. I think all these other ones are different sizes. That's the bigger one, and that's the bigger one. Okay. And we had one other sale, a couple others a little earlier in the year. That's the bigger one. That's the same size, and that sold for $95. So let's grab those. So it really depends on what you can sell it for. So 314 and 105. 314 and 105. Okay. And then that's 2018. So we have two comps. So we have resale for 95,000 to 110, and so your purchase price would have been, let's say it would have been 74,200. So let's say you would have bought it, right? Let's copy this. Let's copy these into here. I think all these are rubbish. Let's drop them in here. Okay. So let's say if you would have bought this for 74,200, the minimum bid, and it would have been a third party bidder. Great day, hooray. Third party bidder. I don't know why the columns aren't the proper width. So if we go all the way to the end, we have $14,000 equity. Oh, it's not changing this over. Blast. So if we were to say this is 100 and this was 74,200, it would be about 25,000 in equity left. And it rents for how much? $860 per quarter. This is only 1,700 due. That's not bad. So how much do they want total? The amount of 1870. Okay. So you'd have to just pay about the $2,000 in assessments, and then $860 per quarter, which amounts to $288 per month, and it rents for, let's say, $1150. So that's not bad. That gives you a 13% cap. And we're calculating the fees, right? Why aren't we calculating the fees? So let's change this as if it was third party bidder for $74,200. And now we can see all of our numbers. So 16% cap. No, it's 16% ROI, 13.63% cap. It's definitely above our wholesale value, so we can get that back in a few months of rent. So this is an interesting deal. The margins are definitely slim. You gotta pay off the HOA for about $3,000. You can rent it for $1150. So you can net $850. Yep. Okay. Then we have this single family home. Let's see if it's selling in there. Let's close everything else. We have a few sales. We have 3 sales within the last 60 days. So this is a 4.2, 2,100 square feet. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. This is 4.2. Sold for $350. So for $298, a smaller version, and a smaller version sold for $269. So a good comparable is this 4.2. It just sold for $350. So let's see that on the map, and let's see ours on the map. So we can actually copy. That's not a bad comp right there. So on the map, you can see they have this thing's on it. Looks like they have some roofing issue, and then this is this corner lot over there. So where is that in relation to our property? I think the property's down here. So this is the comparables down here. Are these all just empty lots? Yeah, they are. They're just empty lots. So the comparables down here, and then our properties over here. So that's pretty comparable. I mean, it's definitely, this one's right by the major road, and this sold for $350. It's a corner lot, but it's on the major road. This is a little more tucked away. So, being about the same size, it almost looks like the same floor plan, just flipped, doesn't it? Doesn't it look like that floor plan was just flipped for this floor plan? Just a little L shape. Call me crazy, and it has a little lip right there. So that looks like a pretty comparable model. It has the pool in the back. Sold for $350. So this one sold for $247. So if it could sell for anywhere near $350, that's a great deal. That's a great deal. So that's our property. And then there is this property. Yeah, it looks exactly the same. It is definitely the same unit, just different color. They took the photo in the exact same spot. That is surreal. So there's your comp. I don't know how much closer to get it for you. It is the same property. So this one, copy the auction information here. This one actually sold to a first party bidder. So I don't know, you can make like 50,000 out of this. Maybe you can make like 50,000 out of this deal. Put 50,000 in on top of the 250 you just did, sell it for $3. And I think that about wraps up this deal review. I think all the other deals are. So this one doesn't look bad. So these two, we'll make them green. Even though one's a little more green than the other one. Let's see. What do we have left? Yeah, these are about selling for full price. So those are the deals. We have 3 which are interesting deals. They're not the best deals, but they are still deals. They both, 2 of them went to the plaintiff. 1 went to a third-party bidder. And we consider that one good. So let's put it how it's supposed to be. And that wraps up the deal review. So we're going to be putting this in the short version of the deal review. So this one, this one, this one, and then what is 4016 turquoise? Are we keeping that one in there? 4016 turquoise. Yeah, no, that's not a deal. Okay, so we have this plantation deal. We have this little apartment. And then we have this house that has a great comp. So these are the deals that look great in Broward County. I want to thank you for hanging in there and watching all the way through. And I look forward to seeing you on the Talking Deals Deal Talk Show, where we're going over the deals that are coming up next week at the Broward Foreclosure Auction. Richard Troutner checking out. Thanks for watching.